What's going on? It's your boy B, full clip, Clippers Unleashed. I know you probably, kind of mesmerized by what's going on. I know we got a big game tonight, but we also got a big event coming soon, NBA All-Star 2026 here at Into a Dome. You see the countdown. You probably see me here as long as the playoffs is going on. But regardless of that, Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Clippers tonight. Series is tied 1-1. Clippers took one the previous time in Denver, and Denver took the very first game in Denver. But regardless of that, the Clippers tonight have to secure home this victory. First game into a dome, first win, everything you can think is first everything here because this building just got here. So the Clippers are going to make sure that this building is well taken care of. You're going to have fans pouring in, fans tonight wearing blue, making noise. Even at the wall, they have a horse head to, throw off Jokic and things like that. If you don't know, Jokic love riding horses. But regardless, the Clippers are got to focus in. We need an efficient night on the defensive boards, offensive boards as well, and we also got to be in tune. No silly turnovers. If the Clippers win the turnover match, the Clippers will secure this victory. But before I go into details, let's jump into presser with Ty Lue.
Hi, Ty.
Hello.
Is everyone good? Kawhi is good? All
Yes,
fine?
sir.
You mentioned you had that conversation with Norm, telling him to be confident. Have you had the same conversation with Bogey?
A little bit. Not quite like that, but I think Bogey will be fine. We'll see tonight.
Coach, to your left, can you talk about and describe the difference coaching a top-heavy team with like 4 first ballot Hall of Famers, and then having and I'm not naming a team specifically, but you've coached teams that have been top-heavy, and then there's kind of a drop-off in the talent versus a team that you have right now that just seems to be everybody in their role seems to be perfectly fit for that role, and the differences that you face going into a playoff situation, knowing that you've got 7, 8, 9 guys that can do a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think, when you have a team that appreciates their role and understand what their role is every single night, and they're fine with it, it makes it a lot easier, like I said, to coach. But when you have 3 or 4 Hall of Famers, it makes it good too because you have a chance to win at a high level. So it's a fine line. But what our guys been able to do this year, like I said, understand their roles, and with Kawhi coming back the way he's come back, it's kind of put guys in their places, and guys are fine with their roles and understand what we need from them every single night. And so that's been a little easier as far as that goes. But having 4 Hall of Famers is not a bad thing either.
It doesn't make game prep any different for you, like throwing a different look at a team versus having the 3 or 4 guys that are going to do the same thing every night? I'm not looking for an answer.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that, but yeah,
I'll follow up on that.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's follow up.
Hey, Ty, I'm hiding in the back, I
How
guess.
you doing?
When Kawhi has a game like he did in Game 2, does it, it reminded everyone of how great he is when he's healthy and when he's able to do things. And you've obviously been here for a lot of the playoffs where he gets hurt kind of either during the series or before the series, et cetera. Do you ever allow yourself to kind of look back on some of those and say what could have been or what teams you've had, how far they could have gone if you'd been healthy in the past?
Yeah, I've done that, especially the first year. I think we went to the conference finals, and Kawhi got hurt in the second round against Utah. And so just seeing that team and how we played, and like Brian said, just understanding your roles and how we wanted to play every night. And so I think about that year a lot. But it's in the past. Now we're moving forward. And so our focus now is on Denver, who's a really good team. And we can play better. We got to play better. We have to play better, and that's our mindset. We got to win there, but I think we still can play better.
Hey, Ty, on that note, with how high of a level Kawhi has played in the past month, how do you compare this stretch of games to other times throughout the course of his career here when he's been healthy?
Yeah, just similar to a stretch he had last year. When we got James, and we went on that winning streak, and how Kawhi was playing at a high level, and just figuring out, how to play with 4 Hall of Famers, like Brian said. But he played at a high level then as well. It's just unfortunate, like you said, he got hurt at the end of the season.
Ty, James has had a really solid start to this series, shooting, distributing. I think had a bit too many turnovers last game, but he acknowledged that and wants to be better about it. What have you seen out of him so far in this series?
Just reading the defense, taking what the defense is given. They're in the drop, attacking downhill, getting to the basket. If they're in the blitz, making the right pass and making the right play without fighting it. And he's been good. And like we talked about, if we do things the right way, we can get any shot we want. And so don't get bored with the process. Don't get frustrated with the process. And if teams are going to double team you, that's the ultimate respect. And now make your other guys better. And he's done that for us.
I remember when he first got here, it was a struggle to get him to take catch and shoot threes. He seems like he's had some success on those, and even the just pump fake guys fly by and he takes a three. Has that comfortability and him just taking that shot just been better for you guys?
Yeah, it's better. I think we create open shots. We got to take open shots, and then with him, the way they're blitzing him, those are going to be his shots, catch and shoot threes, and find the open seams to get shots off or play faster in transition, and so he has to be willing to take those shots.
Hello.
Hello.
I know you're very old, so you've seen a lot, been in the playoffs a lot.
Yep.
What can still surprise you in a playoff series?
Surprise me? I don't think not too much. Yeah, but I mean, of course, you have a playoff series where a guy steps up that you don't see coming, and they make a huge impact into the game. And so we got to be prepared for all of that. And so I think I've pretty much seen a lot of things throughout the course of my career as playing and coaching as well. And so, like I said, we just got to be able to do what we do, not make as many mistakes, rebound the basketball, take care of the basketball, and I think we'll be in good shape.
So there's no attack from an opposing coach installing something that you're like, oh shit, I've never seen that before. I didn't know that could work.
Not really. Yeah.
Ty, hey, Ty.
How you doing?
A question about Zoo. He's been here with you for all the what ifs and coulda, woulda, shouldas. And I remember last year when you guys got lost in Dallas. He was pretty, upset about it. How hungry is he to make a deep run with this team?
Yeah, very hungry. And you can just tell, when he's supposed to be out or when he's hurt or he has some things that that are nagging. He always wants to play. And so that tells you a lot about his character and how he feels about winning. And so there's been plenty of games this year where he could have been out, and we would have understood, but he wants to play, he wants to compete. Like I said, he wants to win. And so when you have a core of guys like that, it makes it a lot easier, like I said, to coach the team.
To your first playoff game here, just what do you want to see from your crowd tonight? And what's the impact of when a team does come home and play a playoff game versus when they've been on the road?
We want to see our crowd the way they've been all year. They've been great. The wall's been great. Very supportive, throughout the whole season, the ups and downs of the season, and they've been there every step of the way. And so I expect them to be excited. I expect them to be loud and ready to go.
Hey, Ty, you've seen behind the scenes what Kawhi has been through both mentally and physically. How gratifying is it to see him doing what he's doing right now?
It's very gratifying, but, like I said, I'm happy for him. We talked about it the last few days, just happy for him to get to this place where he's healthy. He can play at a high level and show people, exactly who he is when he's 100%, and so just all the hard work, over the course of the years and the seasons and getting to this point, it's kind of like his happy place, like he lives for the playoffs. And so just having a healthy, being healthy right now, it's I'm very happy for him and the hard work he's put in to get to this point.
Two more, Lauren and Justin.
Hey, Coach, back to your right. There was some commentary, perhaps, from the opposition about the nature of the noise that the crowd you just talked about makes. What did you make of that comment, and what do you think about your crowd and what it is capable of in a first playoff situation?
What comment?
The comment that was made that some of the crowd noise might be pumped in or inauthentic.
Oh, I don't know about that. I know, like I said, our fans are great. They're loud. We play a lot of loud music, but our fans are great, and so having our own home arena, they're excited. They're very loud, but I didn't hear that comment, so I'm sorry.
Ty, I'm just curious. I'm sure you've heard role players play better at home than on the road. Do you buy into that at all?
I hope so.
You hope so? Well, part of the reason I asked is because a couple years ago against Dallas, when you dropped the first two games at home, you did make a comment that now they have to do it at home, and then you guys beat them twice on the road.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on the role player belief at home.
I hope they play better at home. Yes, I do. But throughout the course of my years, since Rachel said I'm old, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot, and like, you know, if you look at it over the course of all these years, yes, I would say, like, if you had to go by percentages, I guess role players do play better at home if you look at percentages and numbers. And so, you know, we're going to need everybody tonight. Like I said, a big win for us in game 2, but, you know, this is a really good team. They have a 3-time MVP over there, and it's not going to be easy. So we gotta play our best games, and hopefully it starts tonight.
We're back. Now, Ty Lue talked about a plethora of things, but I'm going to focus on these two. Ty Lue said, hey, this team knows what they need to do. This team is a well-oiled machine, and everyone know their roles. They don't go too far past their role. They don't go too less. They actually just secure and take care of what they need to take care of. And then he also talked about the efficiency with Powell and Bogey, in which, you know, shooting has kind of fluctuated, but he said, hey, those guys are veterans, they are professionals, they're going to take care of business and keep it rolling. And there was a question thrown out there to Ty Lue about the ifs. If Kawhi was healthy, if this, Ty Lue said, hey, I did think about it, but that's not on my mind no more. Kawhi is here, and he's taking care of business through in and throughout. Now, for the Clippers to take home this victory, it's going to have to be a big night from Kawhi and James Harden. But I'm also going to look into the bench. I need Nico to step in. I need Derrick Jones Jr. to step in. Be efficient. Be attacking. Defensive-oriented. Have your hands in passing lanes, because this team with Jokic loves to pass and loves to cut. So the Clippers have to be very efficient in that ballpark. But I do expect the Clippers to take home a convincing victory tonight. I wouldn't say by a lot, but I don't want to stress out with a 2-point victory. I'm telling you, I might be as gray as Santa Claus by the time this series is over, getting ready for another one. But the Clippers will take home the victory and will be successful. But I got to get in the building. Time is ticking. I don't want to be late. It's your boy Beef, full clip, Clippers Unleashed. And you see this timer, it's ticking. NBA All-Star 2026. Let's go.
Michael Matthew here, Full Clip Clippers Unleashed. As you can see, we are here at the Clip Shop where we are here. Tammy's inside. She's in there looking for some of that new hot gear, the Clipper City Edition 23-24 season. It's really dope. I can't wait for you guys to check it out. Let's go inside with Tammy and see what she has.
All right, Clippers fans, the 2024-25 City Edition gear has dropped for the LA Clippers. They have all kind of cool sweatsuits. I really, really like this one. It looks cozy. I love the puffy print. They've got hoodies. They've got jackets. They have jerseys. They have tote bags, hats. They have everything that you need for the 2024-2025 City Edition. Grab it before it's gone. I'm thinking about getting something myself. What do you think I would look like in this? Who knows?
Everybody ready? Come on, let's go. The Rick Flash Show! Let's go! The Rick Flash Show! Let's go!
Clipper Nation, what is going on? It's your boy Beeve. You are tuned into another full clip. Clippers Unleashed. The Clippers secured a victory tonight, 117-83, taking care of the Denver Nuggets in their first ever playoff game and into a dome. Now, it was very exciting. You had 4 starters in double digits, and you had Kawhi leading the way with 21 points. It was just a all hands on deck type of feel tonight in which, you know, from the beginning to the end, the Clippers came out and fought hard. The fans, they got loud, they waved their towels, and some showed up early and went home with a Kawhi shirt. So it was a lot of things going on. But after this game, we kind of can see a telltale in how this series is going to kind of go. And the Clippers is going to boil down to 2 things. It's going to boil down to rebounds and turnovers. Tonight, the Clippers won a turnover match against the Denver Nuggets. Previous games, they didn't win, and you see what happened. They lost the first one, but they won the second one, so we're going to keep that in check. And it was a big performance by James Harden. He was knocking down big threes, but someone that we didn't really have on our radar was Nico. Nico came in the game, was shooting threes. Nestor was 4 from 6. He was putting up buckets. And if you look at this series, you know, every series has a player, an ex-player, or a necessary player to keep our eye on for, and that's going to be Nico, because when he comes in, he is shutting it down. And what we're going to do is look at Norman Powell as well. Norman Powell, he actually got his pow back because he was kind of struggling out there in Denver. But overall, I am very proud of this Clipper team. Zoo showed up, and then Chris Dunn, he was putting people in the dungeon as much as possible, but it was just an all hands-on deck type of performance tonight from the Clippers. But what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and step into the presser with Ty Lue, because we went ahead and talked to him about his team's efficiency. We also talked to him about just necessarily how it feels being up 2-1 in this playoff series.
When you talked about wanting to play better, was this an example of that? And what was behind you guys playing at a higher level tonight?
Yes, this is what I was talking about. Like I said, our fans was unbelievable tonight. And just be able to come home, play our first playoff game into a dome, it was very exciting. And our fans came out. They showed up and showed out. And like I said, guys played better, played well. Norm was huge for us tonight, you know, scoring the basketball, but also making the right play in the pick and roll versus the blitzes. And, you know, we got to build off of it. Like I said, it's only 2 games. But today, I liked our approach. I like what we did defensively. And, you know, it's still going to be a tough series. You know, it ain't over because we, you know, had a blowout. It's only 1 game, you know, so we got to be ready to come and validate that on Saturday.
Ty, what is it about Nico that you can just throw him into a playoff series no matter what and he'll deliver every time?
Because he's been in big games. He understands his role. And he's a star in his role. You know, whatever we ask Nico to do, he does it every single night. Whether it's 1 shot, whether it's 10 shots, whether it's no shots. You know, he's going to be the same person, same player every night. And that's what we love about him. You know, unbelievable connector, and everybody loves playing with him.
I felt like James had a really good control over the game today at 13 in that first quarter, only 1 turnover, 9 assists. Spent most of that second half, I think, kind of just finding guys. What did you make of how he kind of approached and handled the flow of the game today, seeing when he needs to score or get guys involved?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. You know, a masterpiece of just, you know, taking what the defense gives you. If they're going to be in a drop, you know, we want to attack downhill. If they're going to be in a blitz, making the right read. And just the biggest thing for us, you know, just watching film tomorrow, just guys, getting to their spots, and it's different spots than we've been in all year. And so it's taking us some time to kind of really find the flow and the rhythm. But, game 4, we should be a lot better, understanding what we're looking for and how we want to set up. And so I thought James did a really good job of just being patient and taking what the defense gave him.
See, just the atmosphere in here. You had so many guys who used to play for this team come through tonight, just other guys who play in the league. How do you feel seeing that, in the first playoff game in this building?
No, it feels good, seeing CP, seeing Pat Bev, and Pat Bev with the Zubac jersey on, and so, it just feels good. Like I said, the series is far from over. We understand that. But tonight, it was a good showing for us. So we got to come out, like I said, and validate this on Saturday.
Coach, early in the game, Denver hit you guys with a couple baseline cuts for layups and dunks. But it seemed like in that first quarter, after that, you guys really tightened up defensively. Didn't give up 30 points in any of the quarters. What did you guys see that allowed you guys to kind of tighten it up and not give away those baseline cuts from that you saw in that first quarter?
Yeah, we just looking at it, we thought that Jokers knew how we've been playing, in the first 2 games, and like I said, the best player in the world, and he was baiting us, early on in that first quarter where we were coming, and he saw us coming, but he acted like he didn't, and he was really picking us apart. And so in that second quarter on through, we did a good job of just really selling out on those corner cuts, kind of trying to stay at home, especially if Zoo's guarding them, and just kind of mix it up. But like I said, JVG did a good job of just, adjusting to what we need to adjust to, once they got those corner cuts, and we was able to take care of it after that.
Ty, kind of after game 1, I'm back here. After game 1, you said that you kind of feel like the week off going into game 1 kind of could have impacted you guys in terms of fatigue and guys looking a little bit rusty. How do you feel that the guys have kind of rebounded from that to get into the flow of this series?
Yeah, I think they've done a good job of rebounding. And like you said, 11 turnovers tonight. I think, with our core guys, I think we might have had 8 or 9. So, we understand we take care of the basketball. We can get really good shots, and just don't get bored with the process, understand what they're doing. And, for every situation they have, we have a different alignment to get to, but we got to do it with pace and get to our spots. So just don't get bored with it. Just take what the defense is giving you. If it's not your night tonight to get shots, make other guys better. And I thought Kawhi and James did a really good job of that tonight.
Coach, so also in the second half, Kawhi had a nasty in-and-out crossover, got an and-one play. Kind of talk about what he is like after practice and before practice, how hard he works, because nobody really knows inside story, but what kind of can you tell us about Kawhi's work ethic?
You see where he's at today. I think all the injuries, everything he's been through to get to this point, like I said, to work hard to get back for the playoffs and to be at full strength. And so that right there just tells you everything about Kawhi. He could have easily packed it in this year, but he wanted to play. He wanted to be out there and help his teammates. And like I said, he's back to being the player, a healthy player, which he's a very great player when he's healthy. And also just give a lot of credit to Ben Simmons. I thought he came in and changed the game in that first quarter just with his pace. I thought he did a good job of showing Joker different coverages, and his pace and everything was really good for us. And so everybody, like I said, chipped in, and it was a team effort, Norm back on track. And so I'm feeling really good about, where we at. We still have 2 more games, and just kind of go from there.
Ty, on a night like tonight where there's so many positives to take away from the game, is there one specific thing that stood out to you offensively or defensively?
Just taking care of the basketball. We talked about it, and even tonight we talked about taking care of the basketball and rebounding the basketball. And so to out-rebound them by 10 after they out-rebounded us by, I think, 18 last game, that's a huge turnaround for us. And so just lock into the small things and to the details. And when we do that, we'll be fine.
Coach, how much credit goes to Jeff Van Gundy for the team's defense?
All the credit.
Yeah. He was moving, screaming, and very active in the bench.
All the credit.
Thank you.
Yep.
James, I know you mentioned the level of excitement and the expectations that you had for this building and playoff game 1 for Intuit Dome. Just what can you say after having played in it?
It's a good start.
was a good game one.
From the fan
game one and into it.
Yeah, from the fan aspect though, just what was the
It was
energy?
cracking. It was loud. It was just how we expected it to be. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the reasons why we jumped out to a huge lead. You know what I mean? They got behind us and we just rode that wave.
I feel like you kind of made it a point of emphasis to be aggressive early. Was that something you were thinking about coming into this game that you felt this team needed?
That's always. You know, me being aggressive is not just scoring. It's, you know, facilitating. It's doing other things. So, you know, I got some shots to fall early, and that kind of just, you know, got the guys rallied up, and, you know, everybody made shots. You know, we had opportunities, especially in the first two games, and shots that we didn't make, you know, which this league is a make or miss league, you know what I mean? So we knew other guys, you know, that hadn't, you know, made shots in the first two games were going to make shots, and, you know, they did that tonight.
James, you guys finished the first quarter on a 10-0 run, and it seems like from then on out you guys imposed you guys' will defensively.
Yep.
Never really looked back. Why are you guys so locked in defensively? I know game one you guys fell short, but it seems like since then you guys have been locked in. You guys haven't really had any letdowns.
We've been that way all year long.
Yeah.
Like, that's our calling. Like, that, if we wouldn't even be in the postseason if it wasn't for our defense. So we know, like, going to games, like, no matter what happens offensively, you know, we gotta be on point defensively. That's what keeps us in the game. You know, so we've been like that all year, and, you know, as much as perfect as we want to be, like we aren't. You know what I mean? So we make mistakes, we cover for each other, and we just continue to, you know, be resilient and keep fighting defensively. And, you know, the first game, you know, we 20 turnovers on the road. You can't win. You know, it's very, very difficult to win, and we still gave ourselves a chance. Tonight, how many we had? 10. Like, that's the game right there. Game two, we had 10 as well. So you do that and you rebound the basketball, you make shots, you give yourself a chance to win.
James, to your right, I'm curious to know, like, what the conversation at halftime was. Like, you guys had a lead, and you know that, you know, you play well to start that second half, and you have control of the game. Like, what was the conversation like to just amongst each other to maintain control that y'all built and established?
There were some things that we still could have got better at, like pick and roll. Jokic is up. You know, he's doing a good job of being up. And, you know, the first half, Zoo had like 3 or 4 opportunities where he got the ball into the basket and he missed a layup. I think he got fouled one time, and I forgot what happened the other 2 times. But, like, Zoo, go dunk the ball. Like, finish those plays. You know what I mean? So there's things like that offensively that we can get better at. And there's some things that we adjusted to defensively that we saw that they were doing that we felt we can get better at. And so it just, you know, it's constant. Like, there's no let-ups. There's always communication, and there's always, you know, room for improvement for us.
Was good, and also great game for you today, man. Sure. Also, I want to say, you being the vet, the OG of the team, what are you telling your teammates after that victory that y'all just had? Like, hey, it's just one game, but let's try to continue this throughout the rest of the season or the rest of the series.
We got to start preparing for Game 4 now. You know what I mean? Like, we know what we're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, Jokic is something special. And those guys, you know, him, Aaron, AG, and Jamal and Michael, they've been together for so many years. They won a championship together. So they've been down in the series before. Like, for us, it's just, you know, we can't get too out. We're not celebrating like we do what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? So I've been in the playoffs for 16 years, and for us, it's just, you know, preparing ourselves now for Game 4. And the earlier we can get a jump on that, the better off we'll be. But it's gonna be even tougher for Game 4. You know, we got to mentally prepare and know that. So tomorrow, film, we'll go over some things, we'll walk over some things, and we'll be ready to go for Saturday.
James, the T. Lou JVG coaching pairing, for those that haven't been able to be in a practice or a huddle,
elite.
What makes them so effective? Yeah.
It's like the perfect relationship. I don't know. They just know what the hell they doing. You know what I mean? Seriously. Like, they always on the same page. Like, they don't overstep each other's toes. They, you know, tell us what we need to do on both ends of the ball, and, you know, we go out there and do it. But it's just like, you know what I mean? They yin yang. Literally yin yang twins. It's fucking hot up here. Seriously.
James, you know, you guys have been priding yourselves on your defense, and it feels like your defense wouldn't be as good as it would be without the camaraderie and chemistry you guys have. Like, we've seen the team photos you guys post and everything. Can you just tell us about, like, what's that chemistry been like and that camaraderie as you head into that playoffs? Because you can see everybody celebrating for each other.
Very fun. Like, This is what when you think about an NBA team, this is what you envision. I've been on several different teams, and it's probably one of the coolest teams in the sense of like everybody understands who each other is, accept them for who they are, and go out there and compete and have each other's back. Knowing like who's the guys, this is what you're great at, this is what you're great at, this is what your weakness is, but we can cover up for that. Like we all know, and that's what makes this team so special. So, we got a big game for us, and this is our first time going through this postseason. And as long as we continue to communicate and have each other's back, good things are bound to happen for us.
James, you had mentioned like this is one of the coolest teams you ever been on.
Yep.
Can you talk about just what it means to you to play with a bunch of selfless guys?
Yeah.
Guys who just want to play defense and want to win and have a chemistry and sacrifice.
That's a part of it. Guys probably feel like they need to be shooting the basketball more or getting more touches or running more plays for whatever you want to call it. Like these guys know that the ball's going to get to them eventually. However that looks. And T-Lou and our coaching staff do an unbelievable job of like mixing it in. For me, my job is easy. I can score, but I'm the facilitator as well. So I can understand when guys are getting shots, when guys are going, and when it's time for me to exert myself. And that's the cool part about it. I'm like running the show, but understanding like, hey, Zoo might have it going tonight, or Norm, or Y might have it going. And I'm cool enough to where if I don't got it going, or if those guys got it going, I can facilitate and make other guys better, or get those guys who got it going that night the ball. So, it's possession by possession, it's game by game. Tonight it was a collective group. Last game we see Y had it going. First game I had it going. So it's a balance of just having each other's back, see who has it going, and then just riding the game, and it's going to dictate. It's going to show you, who got it going. So for our team, we got each other's back, and that's it's pretty cool to be around.
James, I just want to know, what was the feeling like playing with such a loud and supportive crowd during the whole game?
It was really loud. It was probably the loudest it's been all year. We expected that, but like I said before, Game 4 needed to be even louder. Denver is a very, very tough team. They've been through it all, and they're not going to just give in. So we got to make sure that we come out ready to go, prepared for Game 4. Thanks.
Allowed you to dominate them. So were you able to dominate the Nuggets this game?
Just made shots. Made 18 threes tonight. I think we was able to out-rebound them as well, limit their second chance points, and that's pretty much it. I think we played good defense. Like I said, they went 7 for 26 from 3, and we didn't really allow them to get a lot of second chance points.
Kawhi, Shaq always talks about the others. We know what we're going to get from you and James night in and night out. But when you bring along guys like Batum, Norm Powell, Zoo, all those guys, can you talk about what you guys' ceiling is, knowing that when those guys consistently play well on both ends, where this team can go?
I think they've been playing great all year, to be honest. Norm averaged, 20 points. Zoo double-doubles all year. I think about 15, 16, 10 rebounds a game. So, as long as we consistent, we're sharing the basketball and everybody contributes, I think we have a good chance to win. And, we've been just trying to do that and stay great collectively all year.
Hey, Kawhi, right back here. What is it in your mind or in the game plan when you go into a game 2 where you're going to attack, whereas in a game like today, perhaps maybe more of a team floor game? How does that trigger? What is in your mind?
Just based off, T-Lou coaching the game, seeing what he sees, and just adjusting and, trusting your teammates. Everybody contribute tonight. It was a great game for us all, and if we could, do this throughout the playoffs, it would be amazing. But Denver's a great team. They've been here before, and we got to still stay focused and play together and come out with a great mindset Saturday.
just to follow up, if there's a moment in like a game 2 where you're just like, you're telling Ty like, this is my night. Does that ever happen where you're just, I feel it?
No. I mean, it's game 3 tonight, so that's behind us. You know what I mean? That's in the history books already.
Hey, Kawhi, what do you think has been key for you not only to just be healthy at this time of the year, but to be playing at such a high level when you look at the last month of regular season and in the playoffs?
Obviously, just focusing in on my body. You know, being able to, you know, get my minutes up late in that last month, get in shape, basketball shape, you know, as well as just, you know, able to stay strong with the lifts and all, just combining all that together and just having a focused mindset really of still wanting to be good and contribute to the team. And like I said before, just happy to, you know, be front line with my teammates and able to suit up, good or bad. And, you know, that's what I'm taking pride in and feeling great after the game. And I feel good and happy that I was able to play.
Kawhi, from the jump, it seems like this team this season has had the best defensive Clippers team we've seen in a long time. And that defense doesn't seem like it comes without a certain level of chemistry and camaraderie. Can you just talk about what it's like for you out on the floor with a team this good at defensively where everybody's covering each other's backs and their weaknesses?
I have to give, you know, credit to my coaching staff, starting with JVG, just being focused on that end and coming in with, you know, a passionate and, you know, aggressive mindset for us all. And it kind of triggers down to us. And then from there, there's guys on the floor that want to guard. They're not, you know, just pointing at me and telling me to take them. These guys is looking the opponent in the eye and say, I want them. And they motivate me defensively, you know, especially Chris Dunn, just seeing how he plays every game. And, you know, with Derrick Jones coming in and Zoo being that back line and how they just want to play. They motivate me to play, you know what I mean? And I think that's where it comes from. You see other guys just, you know, digging in deep and, you know, want to guard, and it just, you know, trickles down to everybody on the floor.
Kawhi, curious to know what your best healthy alternatives to Gatorade are.
I'm not mentioning that right now. You could talk to me after.
All right, we'll talk after. In terms of Game 4, T. Lou was talking about validating this performance tonight. How do you get an afternoon game on Saturday? How do you validate what y'all did today and go up 3-1?
I don't know. I mean, like I was just saying, you know, just take this win tonight, and then just circle back, try to get as much rest. And know the job isn't complete. You know, this is a great basketball team that we're playing against. You know, great players with Jokic being MVP, and Jamal Murray always, you know, playing great in the playoffs. And you know, they got other guys as well playing great defense. Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter shooting, and we just have to have that mindset to come in and just do it again, I guess. And stay focused and know we're playing a hungry team.
Kawhi, so you had 39 points in last night, the other night 15-19 from the field. Tonight, obviously 21 points. Your offense is definitely elite from the field, but your defense, you've always been locked in on defense with rotating, always going to be locked in points of the game. Do you think this era has kind of ran away from defense and glamorized offense a little bit too much?
Nah, not really. I mean, at times, you know, it might be teams or games, but I think the offense got a lot better. It's a lot of pace, a lot of threes. Guys are, you know, just coming from me being a defensive player, it's a lot of, you know, 6-8 guys that could dribble and shoot threes now, or get to the paint that is very athletic. So I think the skill level's gotten there, and then at sometimes, you know, you might have those nights where your team isn't as good or they're not as focused on guarding, and you see crazy games. But Everybody's trying to play for sure. Like I said the other day, it might look easier watching, but if you go out there and play, you're not gonna get no easy bucket.
Well, I remember one of the last times that I asked you about Into a Dome, you mentioned how good the fans have been and wanted to give them a deep playoff run. What was the energy like in here tonight, and how do you feel the fans came out for you guys?
It was great. They did a good job of filling up the seats. They were cheering all night, especially people on the wall. But it was a collective unit out there. It was very loud at times. I don't know where he was, but it was fun. It was a fun game to play.
Turnovers, offensive rebounds, all that stuff. Better spacing offensively. We knew we can be better. So came in yesterday, watched some film, walked through some stuff, and did pretty well tonight.
What did you make of the crowd first?
That's great. That's great, man. We were looking forward to it ever since the beginning of the season for the playoffs. We knew they've been consistent throughout the season, very loud, and we knew they were going to take it to the next level in the playoffs. So it meant a lot to us. It was great. We hope for some more in the next game.
What's the hardest thing about trying to play Jokic all game long?
What's the
hardest thing?
There's a lot of everything, man. He's amazing. His basketball IQ is great. He can play in a post. He can shoot it. He can handle it, pick and rolls. He can face up. He can do a bunch of stuff, man. It's pick your poison with him. So just got to be physical, play hard, and that's it.
He had a triple-double, but it didn't really dent in what you guys were doing. What does that sound like to say he had a triple-double, but we still won the game?
That's what he does, man. He's an all-around player. He makes plays not just for himself. He makes plays for his teammates all the time. He reads the defenses, and I don't know. We play really good, but he's gonna get his. He's probably the best player in the league. He's gonna get his. So we just gotta stay locked into our game plan. Don't worry about what he got. Just gotta stick with it.
Seems like obviously game scripts go differently. Not every game is the same. I think you were heavily involved in the first two games today. I don't think you scored, but you did have a couple of times. Like, what does it say that you guys are able to adapt to whatever you guys are kind of seeing out there? The ball was bouncing. You guys had a lot of open looks in that first quarter. What is it like to kind of adapt to whatever you're seeing out there and still be successful?
We're seeing a lot of defenses, and we're a pretty experienced team. James Kawhi, led by James Kawhi, been through everything, seen everything. So we're pretty good at just adjusting on the fly, reading the game, and just adjusting to it. There's not a lot of defenses that we didn't see already, so we're ready for everything. It's we got a great coaching staff that's always on to stuff. They see what's going on. They're quick to adjust as well. So we did pretty well tonight.
Your locker neighbor was able to had a big performance today. 12, I think he had 3 blocks. One of those coming out of nowhere on that Jokic Porter kind of fast break. What does it say about him that he's able to, even at age 36, 37, whatever he is, just be?
He's one of the best role players in the league. He knows his job. He plays hard. He plays both ends. He's smart. His basketball IQ is high. He can guard any position. He blocks shots. He rebounds. He's gonna hit open shots. He's like a connector on offense. He knows how to make that next pass. He's just a great all-around player, and has been like that throughout his whole career, international and NBA. So that's what Nico does.
So after seeing everything Kawhi has been through, both mentally and physically, what's it like seeing him perform like this?
It's great. It's great, man. He's been through a lot, and a lot of people in the media and out there piled up, try to, bring him down even more, like it's his fault, for getting hurt, and that's just something you can't control. And he did a great job just staying locked in, trusting his work, trusting the staff, getting better, getting healthy, taking his time, and now he's back, he's healthy, he's looking good, and he's leading us. So big time.
Norm had a big fourth quarter in game 2, and tonight he has a big outing. What does it say about him that he's been able to come back after that first game to kind of produce like he has?
It's what Norm does. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen, and Norm's just, miss few shots. It's whatever. He works hard no matter if he plays good or bad, if he hits shots or not. He's going to put in the same work, and he's going to trust that work. And we knew it was going to happen at some point. He's going to make shots. Those are great looks. He's been knocking them down his whole life, and tonight he was knocking them down, and it changes, makes it a lot easier for us, for sure.
What was the motivation behind the suit tonight?
This man right here.
Me too.
Twins. We texted each other. Yeah.
Let him know, man. European guys.
I didn't get the number. My bad. I didn't get the number.
He's French.
It's all just about, I said yesterday, just riding the wave. Just being steady, trusting the work. I know it's gonna always show. The amount of time that I put into this game, on the court, off the court, mentally, physically. That's what I do. I work. I try to get better. But yeah, it's all mental. So it's just about staying even keel and watching how you can improve and making those adjustments.
What did you make of the crowd tonight in the first Intuit Dome playoff game?
I was good. I was a little worried when we were first running out, but when tip-off came, the whole arena filled and it was packed, sold out all the way to the top. I was looking. The energy was amazing from start to finish. I'm glad our first playoff game was a win here. But we still have more work to do. Got to be ready and focused and locked in Saturday. They're a great team. They're a championship team. So we got to be ready to play. We ain't do nothing yet.
It feels like when you play a guy like Nikola Jokic, you have to be locked in defensively for 48 minutes because you find a back cutter here and there. Like, what is that like in the flow of the game? Is it kind of easy to take when you have a big run to kind of maybe take a little bit of a backseat sometimes? Like, what is that like to play defense against that?
Nah, it's just like you said, we got to be locked in. There's no lead that's out of reach when you have a guy like him. He can score the basketball, he can get guys involved. So it's really being tied into the game plan. Continuous talk from the coaches, from the players, stepping on the floor, making sure that we're not giving them easy looks. He can score the basketball, but the way he wins games for his team is getting everybody involved. So taking away the gift baskets, the back cuts, the transition pushes and run outs when he's kicking the ball ahead is huge. So you can never take a play off with him. And for me, I'm just always thinking like, where am I at? What am I supposed to do next? What are we trying to take away? And I think that's what everybody's doing. Like, how do we take away what he's trying to when he's trying to break down defenses?
You look at a guy like Nico, able to come into a playoff game immediately, make an impact. He had a couple blocks, big one transition. Like, what is it about him that he's able to just come in there and always make an impact?
I mean, Nico's the most experienced player we have on this team. Just professionally playing, I always give him a hard time talking about NBA years, but he's been playing professional basketball, at a high level since he was a teenager. So he knows how to come in and be ready, be prepared for the moment. No one was too big for Nico. I always talk about how I was a fan of him when I was a rookie coming into the league. Just the way he shot the ball, came off pin downs and things like that when he was younger. A lot of these young guys in the locker room don't even know how good Nico Batum was in his earlier days. But he's experienced, he's heady, and he's always ready.
So you don't count his international years?
Nah, not when we're talking about NBA. He always tries to throw in his extra years. But when we're talking professional, yeah. But NBA years is different.
Okay. You've been with Kawhi even dating back to 2019. You've seen the stuff he's had to endure off the court with injuries and all the times that he spent coming back. Do you think he gets enough appreciation for just forging through all this to keep coming back at the level that he's at?
No, not at all. Everybody wants to talk about his injuries or talk about how he's not trying to play or, he's sitting out on purpose, man. Like,
they don't know, you know, what he's going through. You know, they don't know what we go through, what we fight through and battle through. You know, I've been around him. I've seen his work. I've seen his due diligence, the amount of time and effort he puts into his body before games, after games, on days off, in the off season, being able to work out with him down in San Diego and stuff like that. Like, he's committed to this game, you know, and I think everybody just talks about his injuries, you know, and the amount of games he's missed. But, you know, for him to come back every single time after one of those injuries and still play at the level that he's playing at, you know, there's commitment there. You know, it's not just, oh, he's a great player and a great talent. He puts the time in and the work in. I think people need to, you know, start appreciating who he is as a player and as a person, and what he brings to the game. You know, it's unfortunate injuries happen. He's not trying to go out there and get hurt and miss games. You know, it happens, and he has to bounce back and recover. But, you know, I admire his mental fortitude and toughness through it all. You know, he's never too high, never too low. You know, and I try to emulate that mental toughness from him.
Norm, when you guys took control of this game in the first half, you know, when you start the second half, you got to reestablish that energy and reestablish that control. How did y'all do it tonight?
Our experience, you know, we've all been in playoff games. You know, everything's one game at a time, you know, one possession at a time. In a playoff series, you know, you don't win a series off one game. You know, and we've all been in different playoff series where you've been up 2 games, down 2 games, you know, and still being able to come back and win series. You know, and like I said, that team is really good. They're not going to give them. They're not going to quit. And they got guys that can make shots and you know, bring them back into the game. And our experience and being mentally locked in and not, you know, taking our foot off the gas. And being focused and coming out in those first 6 minutes and really still establishing who we were on the defensive end. You know, we weren't, you know, just trading baskets. You know, we weren't scoring. We were making sure that we were locked in tight and getting stops to keep the lead.
Thanks, Norm.
Now we're back. Now Ty Lue touched on a few things. He said, you know what? We have 2 more games remaining. I can't necessarily look ahead too far, but we got 2, and we got to make sure we come in here Saturday and take care of business, because the Clippers will be back in Intuit Dome at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Now, Clipper fans, I know it's early. It's early for me too, but the team has to come in and take care of business. I'm going to tell you right now, the Denver Nuggets is not going to lay down, even though they got smoked tonight. So they definitely going to come in fighting, being on top of their game and things like that. But I don't want to skip over too much with the Denver Nuggets, because Jokic had another triple-double. And there's something about Jokic. He's just so efficient, so silky smooth. Murray had double digits, and also Gordon. Gordon was yelling earlier in the corner that he can't guard me, but Gordon and them lost in the end because somebody did guard him. He actually guarded himself right on out the game. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a moment, we're going to check in with Jovan for our player of the game.
Thanks, Vive. It's Jovan here with tonight's player of the game, and my pick for the night is Norman Powell. Tonight he did an amazing job with 20 points. We know that in Game 2 in Denver, it was kind of chipping the third quarter against Murray. Reporters asked Ty Lue if he was going to make any changes to the game with those inconsistencies happening. Ty Lue said about Powell that when he misses a shot, he makes sure he gets back with the next one. And his teammate Kawhi added his 2 cents in, just saying that he is confident in Powell, saying that even though, like Ty Lue said, if he misses a shot, he knows he can get back to it. He's an NBA player. That's what he does, but he's been here this whole entire season. And Norman Powell really backed it up with his 20 points tonight and energy to show that he remains confident and he's still the same Powell that he was before, making sure the Clippers get a dub and being an essential player for the team. The whole Intuit Dome was rocking tonight. The Nuggets coach Adelman made a few comments about Intuit Dome, saying they added sounds, but with Powell's movements, the defense of tonight's game, and the whole Clippers coming together as a whole, I will say tonight was just pure energy, no added sound at all. So, like I said before, my pick tonight is Norman Powell. I can't wait to see all the things he's going to do for the rest of the playoffs. That's it for me. Back to you, Vive.
Jovan, that was a great pick. I was thinking the same thing. But I don't want to give too much or too little. I want you to stay tight. I want you to be ready for Saturday, 3 p.m. The Clippers will be back in Intuit Dome for their second playoff game in this building. I need fans rocking. If you see behind me, that wall was jumping. We're going to see what kind of bells and whistles the wall has for Denver for Saturday. And I want you to relax, Clipper Nation, and understand we're going to secure this victory Saturday. It's going to be a dogfight, but we're going to take home this victory and make sure we use home court advantage to the full extent. And again, it's been your boy Beef, Full Clip, Clippers Unleashed. Let's go.